Hello, I'm Carol Ann Kaufman. I am the Whistling Diva, and I'm also the producer of the Masters of Musical Whistling International Festival and Competition that happens here in Los Angeles, as well as the president of our nonprofit that puts on the Masters of Musical Whistling, Creative Being, a nonprofit dedicated to inspiring community and creativity through artistic self-expression. I wanted to jump right into this little bit of time I wanted to spend with you to help prepare you for the whistling competition. I know the rules are a little bit confusing, but hey, it's a world-class competition. Obviously, we need to have rules and guidelines for you to follow. So I'm going to go through a few of the things that I thought you would like to know in order to perform your best at the competition. So we're going to start with general tips and techniques first. So the first thing that I always tell the whistlers is to breathe deeply from your diaphragm. You want your lower belly to be expanding with air while you are whistling. And then as the air goes out, then your stomach comes in. That's called operatic breathing. It's also yogic breathing that they use in yoga. It's something you want to know in order to perform your best. You can look it up online, but you definitely want to practice this breathing that will allow you to have more air so you can accomplish better notes and better songs. Perform lip exercises, right? You might want to like do a stretch, do a kiss. The most important thing is that you practice these things and see how they affect your whistling. Is it a positive effect? Is it a negative effect? Do it additional times, do it a bunch so you can get a read on what works for you, what makes your mouth feel like it's ready to whistle and create an excellent performance. Stay hydrated. You want to drink your water. You want to kind of decide whether you like hot water or cold water. Everybody's a little bit different, and temperature can affect your performance. Anything can affect the inside of your mouth, can change the way that you are whistling. And you want to experiment, find out, and watch out for dehydration. You want to stay away from alcohol, tobacco, things like that when you're getting ready to perform. They can really dry out your mouth. I've had an experience where I was hired to do a gig and I was drinking a little extra wine and I found that I couldn't hit my high notes. And that's how I learned this lesson for myself, was that I got dehydrated and wasn't able to perform the way that I like to. So there's that tip. I also learned this when I was competing in the World Championships years ago. Be careful not to eat too much food before you perform. You need room in your belly for air. So, find out what works for you, but keep it, to a minimum. Don't have a giant feast before a performance or competition. I think that you might regret it the same that I did. And then moisturize your lips. Some people like lip balm, some people don't. That's going to be up to you. But again, you want to experiment and see what works. I personally can't perform without lip balm, but everybody has their own way of doing things. Now here's a few performance tips. Maintain eye contact. Look your audience in the eye. And if you're too nervous to do that, you look right over their eye. So it still looks like you're engaging. It still looks like you're connecting with the people out there, but maybe you're not doing it exactly with them. But the audience is going to feel that connection. It's about being present. It's about people feeling like we're all in the room together and that I am performing for you. Engage your whole body. Don't just stand there. We are creatures of movement. We want to move and be able to express and to enhance our performance and connect with our audience by using our whole body. Use the stage, walk around, be deliberate. Don't just flail around, but move and allow your audience to be moved by what you are expressing. And then this is just a tip about the MMW, Masters of Musical Whistling. Bird sounds and other kind of mouth and, music or sound effects. Those are all really awesome effects. They can really add something to a performance. But at MMW, we try to stay pure to the music. So most songs don't have a lot of bird whistling or a lot of extra fancy, strange, and unusual whistling techniques. So use them judiciously. If you feel like they're adding to the song and creating some interest, go for it. But if it's taking away and making the song a little muddy, or maybe people can't figure out what song it is, that's when you want to really taper it down. Practice in front of your friends and see what they think, and ask people. That's the best way to kind of gauge that. All right, now we're on to preparation. Get a coach. That is always my number one recommendation. Get a coach, work with somebody. You need somebody to be your ears. We all are the best whistler that we've ever heard. I know I sound amazing to myself when I'm whistling, right? I feel so good. I'm expressing myself. I'm having a good old time. But until I'm working with the coach and they're able to really see if that note got hit, and whether the cadence and the tempo of the song is really working, and whether I'm in tune and I'm really, hitting that note, that is something that we need other people to help us with. So that's my recommendation there. You always, especially when you're getting ready for a competition or performance, practice in front of your friends. Don't just do it in your living room. We get nervous when we perform in front of people. So you don't want your first time performing in front of people, like in a formal way, to be when you're at the competition. You'll probably have a lot of extra nerves. Get out to a karaoke party. Perform in your friend's living room. There's nothing more nerve-wracking than whistling in front of, 3 people in a living room. So that's going to prepare you for competition like you can't believe. And not only that, it forces you to figure out, do I actually know my song? You have to think on your feet. It's a very, very, very valuable exercise. Record yourself, listen to yourself, and critique yourself honestly. Share your journey with other people. Anybody that you can tell that you're going to the Masters of Musical Whistling in Los Angeles, tell them. It'll be an awesome conversation starter, and it will help to build up your confidence. They're going to root for you. They're going to be impressed with you. They're going to be amazed that you're involved in this unique art form. And you can also educate people in that way too. So that's another tip. And then, take a look on YouTube. See if you can find former champions from the MMW, from the International Whistlers Guild's Global Whistlers Competition, or the World Whistlers Convention out of Japan. Go and find out what your competition is doing. Obviously, we don't want to spend our lives comparing ourselves to other people, but when it comes to our sport or our art form, we want to be able to see what other people are doing and find out what level that we need to measure up to. What are these different organizations looking for? You're going to see the type of whistling that, if you see it's a champion, then you'll know, hey, I kind of have an idea of what they're looking for. All right, and of course, the most important thing in all of the preparation is to have fun. Have fun when you're going out and doing your whistling karaoke party. Have fun when you're whistling around, and really have an opportunity to express yourself. And in a sense, don't take it too seriously, but at the same time, when you're practicing, do take it seriously, right? That's why we're getting coaches. That's why we're entering competitions, so that we can, show the world what it is that we do and what we love to do. Song selection. So, there's no right answers here. People want to ask me all the time, what's the best song to do? That's going to depend on you. You want something that is dynamic and melodic and features techniques and abilities that you are most proud of, right? You want to showcase who you are. Find something that's challenging. This is, arguably the most difficult part of the process, is figuring out what song to do. I struggle with it myself. You want to whistle the song that you choose and look for other people's reactions. See what their face is saying, right? Some people are too polite to tell you the truth, but you'll see whether they're like, oh, wow, I'm loving this, or like, that's nice, right? That's kind of what you're looking for. You're kind of reading people. Make sure it's in your key. You don't want to be jumping. You don't want to be, here in this key, and then all of a sudden I can't reach that, so I'm going to, I'm whistling up here, and then all of a sudden it's like, that note might have supposed to go up even higher. So choose a song that's in your key. Choose something that you can actually accomplish. It's not going to sound most professional and most pleasing to the ear if you're jumping around octaves. If you don't know what I mean, ask your coach or look it up online, because we want to stay within the octaves that are original to the song. Don't be jumping around. All right, and practice incessantly. Know your music, right? That's really how you're going to perform a song in an amazing way. Now, accompaniment. Find good backtracks. Obviously, it's a huge aspect of the whistling competition is that almost all of the divisions, except our live band division, is utilizing pre-recorded MP3s. So there's a couple of tips that I'm going to give you here, because when it came to the auditions, this area is the area that is the most problematic. There's the most mistakes, and you may be able to get through the audition with a backtrack that is not really spot on. That might be overlooked by the judges, or maybe they'll only, set you down a couple of points. You might still be okay. But when it comes to the live competition, there's a severe point reduction for a backtrack that doesn't qualify. And so now let's talk about that a little bit. You want to have, here's what you're looking for in a track. You want to have full sounding music of good quality. Listen to it with your earphones. That's going to tell you whether it sounds good, or you hear snap, crackle, popping and different things. You want this not to sound like a record from 1985. You want it to sound like a crisp, MP3 that you're going to hear on any of your listening devices, because it's going to be, anything that's wrong with the track is going to be made tenfold, because it's going to be louder in a theater for people to hear. And that's whether you're at the MMW or out just performing for friends. So really vet that music. If you're not sure, ask a friend. And then keep in mind that your performance success is directly correlated to the quality of your backtrack. If you have a crappy backtrack, your whole song is just not going to sound right. And now here is the place where people made the most errors in their auditions, is that you need to make sure that the backtrack does not feature the same melody that you are whistling. I know it can be difficult to find those tracks that you want without the melody, but that's what you have to do, because it is really difficult to hear what you're doing if there's a melody going throughout the song. The judges want to know if you know the song. If you're whistling along with another melody, maybe you don't even know it. That's not, a master knows their music, right? If you're a master of musical whistling, you know your song. And so you don't need a little lead track in there to guide you. I'm going to give you an example of what doesn't work. So here's Adele, Someone Like You, and this is a little bit in through the intro. So here you go. Here we go. Wait a minute, I thought I was supposed to be whistling. All right, you get the picture. You don't know if I know the song. You know I probably know it, sort of good. You don't actually know if I know it, because there's a melody in there. You might not be able to hear all my notes because the melody is going on. Now this is a very simple backtrack. It's just piano. Most of the music you're going to choose has a lot more full sound. But nonetheless, even if you use something simple like this, you do not want the melody da 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 da. Da-da-da. That's your job, not the backtrack's job, right? You will be deducted points there. Okay, I'm gonna do an example of what does work for Adele, Someone Like You. Here we go. There's nothing there. All right, enough about me. So hopefully that's really obvious, right? This one doesn't have the melody in it. It's all whistling all the time. All you can do is hear Carol. There's no question that I know the song. There's no competition with it. Now, some songs have a little bit of overlap, especially musicals, and epic numbers might have something, but you really want to watch for that. You want to make sure that it seems like you are not always doing the same thing that the track is doing. That's just not going to do well for you. It's not going to score well. And you're not going to wow your audiences the way that you want to. All right, so there's that. Now, I wanted to make you aware, I have very often in the past used custom tracks. And yes, they're more expensive. Yes, they're more difficult to find. But if I'm attached to a song and I want to use it, especially if it's for competition, and I've got this song, I think I'm going to kill it. I'm going to sound amazing. Then invest in an awesome backtrack. Often classical songs can be difficult to find in our key. They can be difficult to find without other, melodies inside, depending on how obscure they are. So there are people that will make tracks for you. There's websites like Fiverr.com where there's, they're gig websites, and there's people from all around the world that can play piano, that can play guitar, can create a backtrack for you to your specifications. If we have any resources, they'll be on the website on the Compete page. So keep that in mind, that you're not stuck with the karaoke track. You might have to save up to get the one that you want, but if it's a song you're going to use for years to come, then, I have a track that I made probably in 2008. So you figure out the math, right? A long time ago. And I'm still using it. I still perform with it because it was a quality track. All right, let's see. Real quick, just for my level 3 live band people, our musical director, AJ Satsangi, he is an incredible musician, and he's very adept at taking your inspiration videos, your MP3s, your notes, your examples, all these different pieces of information that will be on your form to fill out, and he is going to create a chart. He's going to create music for the band to follow for your live band performance. So really make sure that your inspiration videos or MP3s that you're submitting for that really, are spot on for the way that you want to perform. You only get 10 minutes for a rehearsal. That's how, that's the deal with mastery, is that you show up at a party, somebody asks you to whistle, you talk to the band, you say I'm in the key of C, and you go. Sometimes you don't get 10 minutes. So that's one of the things that's very special about the Masters of Musical Whistling, is that we have a live band division for our elite level 3 whistlers. And, it's not an easy thing to do, but you're level 3, so you can do it. All right, now, couple more little guidelines. Just to be clear, the song length for level 2 and 3 for all songs, the minimum is 3 minutes, the maximum is 5 minutes. You will have points deducted if you don't meet those measures. For level 1, you can have a 2-minute song minimum up to 4.5 minutes maximum. All right, so check the Compete page. It is updated, and that is where the information is on the Compete page of the website. You need to put in your song name and your composer. Please, please, please do your research. The person singing it is probably not the person who wrote it. You need to look online, research the song, ask for the composer, not the performer, the writer of the song. We like to introduce you, your name, the song that you are performing, and the person that wrote it, because they're the ones, it was their artistic labor of love. So we want to acknowledge that person. Please don't, tell me you're doing a Celine Dion song and then the composer is Celine Dion. She's probably not. She has writers. She's really big. There are people that write music. That's probably what's happening. So please, don't make me have to do it. Don't make our team have to vet your songs. Just take an extra moment, go online, and find who the composer is. And of course, you want to, when it comes to your classical songs, what I want is for you to find the original song name, right? So like, there's a lot of different classical songs out there that have some English versions of their name, and then they have the original version of their name. Eine kleine Nachtmusik, right? That's the original name. I don't know what the modern version might be called, but if it was different than that, that's not the name we want. We want the name of the song as it was written by the composer. And then also on the final guideline here, do me a favor, dress sharp. This is a world-class competition. We don't want to suppress your individuality, but I also don't want ultra-casual wear happening on the stage. People are coming to see a live competition concert, right? And so I think of these events as competition concerts. They're not just a competition. This is a concert for the people that are watching, right? There are people there that are your fans that have come to see what you can do. Let's give them a show. Don't show up in just jeans and grubbies. Let's look cute. Let's look, whatever that is for you. Dress sharp, So I don't want to make you feel like you can't wear what you want, but just remember that we're here, we're trying to bring it for our audience as well as for ourselves. And then just a few notes about how the competition goes. Let's see. the most important thing that I can tell you is to read the guidelines. There are people that have suffered their score because they didn't read the guidelines, and I do my best to try to remind people. I have a lot of redundant things in the website because I know sometimes things get lost in the shuffle. There's a lot of information, but please read. It's going to get you an opportunity to actually do your best, which is, hey, that's what we're here for. Let's see. And then when it comes to the event, think about showing up in the audience during the competition. Even if you're not competing that day, you know, this is our community. This is our Whistlers community, and people come together here at the MMW every other year. And it feels really good to have people in the audience, and that for you to be able to go up to a Whistler after and say, hey, I saw your performance, it was amazing, stuff like that. So keep that in mind. Instead of ditching out 100%, maybe watch a few of the performances. It's up to you, but that's just a little suggestion from myself. And then, let's see. I wanted to also say, I already told you I'm the Whistling Diva. If you want to create a moniker, if you want to have a nickname, go for it. You know what I mean? It's just a fun thing to do if you feel like it. It's certainly not necessary. I can just be Carol Ann Kaufman. That's usually who I am. But I love the fact that I'm the Whistling Diva. I love the fact that people have an idea of who I am and what I do just by my name. So I find that really fun, and I'll tend to put that, you know, on my business card, or when they do television or podcasts or different things, you know, I put my name in. Sometimes it's a little more memorable than my actual name. So it's fun to have like a little nickname. So one couple last things. We have the world's largest whistling directory on the website. So we've got a whole page dedicated to resources about whistling, different individuals and their websites, different tutorials, different international resources. There's a lot on there. So you're not alone in this world. We want to be the hub for this whistling community, and the directory is a great place to get connected to that. And then finally, I wanted to say, I think you have an idea already, but our stand here at the Masters of Musical Whistling is that whistling is art. And, you know, for far too long, our instrument has been sort of pushed to the back, and other instruments were made important where ours was considered just a silly hobby, or maybe something that didn't have the same depth and ability as other instruments, a guitar, a flute, whatever it may be. And our stand is that elite level whistling is world-class music, and there's no difference per se between any instrument. There's certainly no hierarchy. Nothing is better than another thing. An amazing whistler can hold their own with a symphony just like a saxophonist can. And so our mission is to just bring whistling to the forefront, bring it, you know, as part of mainstream music. And yes, it's special, and yes, it's unique, especially in the fact that it's really the only, you know, one of the only instruments other than voice and singing that is portable. It's attached to your body, right? And therefore it's a part of who we are, even more than any other instrument could be. And so, you know, my goal is to see that whistling is just accepted and appreciated and a part of culture. So that is your little video. I really hope that it was helpful for you and makes that difference. I'm going to say one last thing as we go, which is I just wanted to tell you a tiny little bit about whistling history, just less than a minute's worth, that when I competed at the International Whistlers Convention in North Carolina, it was led by Alan DeHart, and as a matter of fact, I created an award called the Alan DeHart Award, which recognizes those that are expanding the awareness, enjoyment, and respect of musical whistling as a fine art, just like our mission. And that was an incredible event where I won 2 world championships and made so many friends, some of which are, you know, I'm sure going to be at the event that you will even meet. And, you know, there's just been some really pivotal groups over the years. There used to be in the 80s, there was the Carson City Whistle Off in Nevada, where people came together and whistled together. That was that you can find different videos online. And then the World Whistlers Convention out of Kawasaki, Japan, run by Ryosuke Takeuchi, who just does an incredible job every other year. We go back and forth. And then the International Whistlers Guild that I mentioned, and the Global Whistlers Competition, which is an online competition. So, you know, and then there's Puckorama in Japan that is put on by them. So, you know, there are different things happening out there that you can get involved with in your community. I'm so glad that you took the time to spend with me today, and I can't wait to see you at the Masters of Musical Whistling in Los Angeles. I'm Caroline Kaufman, the Whistling Diva. See you soon. Thank you.